All right, let's talk about one of the biggest, most profound shifts happening in our lifetime. I'm talking about artificial intelligence and how it's about to completely rewrite the rules for how we work and live. And this isn't some distant sci-fi movie plot, folks. It's happening right now, and it's going to impact pretty much every single one of us. So let's dive in and really break down what this seismic change is all about.
Now, to help us get our heads around this, we're going to lean on this really powerful idea from a researcher named Kevin Brake. He gives us this amazing analogy. He says, think about the future economy like a giant marketplace. It's going to be flooded with mass-produced stuff made by AI, while the handmade, human-created stuff, that's going to be a tiny little corner shop. This one simple idea is really the key to understanding everything else we're about to cover.
So what's the real difference here?
On one hand, you've got your artisan work. It's got that human touch, it's one of a kind, it has a story, but it takes a lot of time, and let's be honest, it costs more. Then on the other side, you have the AI-driven stuff. This is all about pure efficiency. It's scalable, it's consistent, and it's way, way more affordable. And well, the market is making a very clear choice.
Yeah, and let's be super clear about this. This is not a fair fight. Not even close. The market has already started to pick a winner, and that trend is only getting faster and more dramatic. And the reasons why? Well, they're just basic economics. The scale of this shift, it's just mind-boggling. I mean, look at this. The projections suggest that in just 10 to 20 years, a whopping 90% of the entire market will be dominated by AI-driven products and services. And that human-centric artisan work we were talking about, it's going to be squeezed into a tiny 10% niche market.
Just let that number sink in. 90%. This isn't just some small course correction. We're talking about a near total overhaul of our economic system, all driven by this unstoppable hunt for efficiency and scale.
So why is this happening? Why is the shift so absolute? It really boils down to three things. First, market demand. The huge majority of us, we just prefer things that are affordable and easy to get. Second, cost. AI just slashes the cost of making things. And third, scale. An AI system can meet global demand almost overnight. A human artisan? No way. You put those three together, and it's an economic force that's almost impossible to...
Okay, so the market is changing in a massive way. Fine, but what does that actually mean for us? For our jobs, our careers? This is where it gets really, really personal. And look, absolutely no industry is going to be left untouched by this. Of course, you see the obvious ones, manufacturing, logistics, retail. They're at super high risk as robots and automation take over. But look closer. Even fields like finance and, get this, creative fields are facing a pretty high chance of AI taking over huge chunks of the work. We're talking everything from financial modeling to writing articles.
And if we break it down by the kind of jobs at risk, a really interesting pattern shows up. Yeah, low-skill, repetitive office work is at the highest risk. No surprise there. But check out that middle bar. That's the one that should get your attention. 40 to 60% of middle-skill, white-collar jobs are also on the line. These aren't just factory jobs anymore. We're talking about accounting, marketing, a ton of administrative roles that are basically the backbone of the whole economy. And please don't make the mistake of thinking this is something for our grandkids to worry about. Look at this timeline. This is a 10-year revolution. We are already in the first phase, with basic admin jobs getting hit right now. By the time we hit the end of this decade, AI will be deep inside finance and logistics. And by the early 2030s, it's just standard practice. Everywhere. A change this massive doesn't just happen in a bubble. A workforce revolution on this scale, it's going to force governments all over the world to step in and react, both in how they run their own business and how they try to regulate everything. And governments themselves are going to become huge adopters of AI. I mean, they have to. Projections for 2035 show exactly where they're going to focus. You see military and defense leading the pack, followed right behind by tax collection and public administration. It's a pretty clear strategy. Use AI to boost national security and make the bureaucracy way more efficient. But adopting AI on that scale opens up a total minefield of problems. I mean, the list of concerns for policymakers is huge.
They're grappling with everything from mass unemployment and widening inequality to really tricky ethical questions about AI bias and the fact that we might lose our privacy. These aren't just little technical glitches. These are major societal problems that need to be handled with extreme care. Okay, so after all of that, all the data, all the big projections, we finally get to the most important question in this whole explainer. What can you actually do about it? How do you prepare for this future and make sure you come out on top? The goal is to make yourself, for lack of a better term, AI-proof. And it really comes down to this 4-part game plan. First, you have to upskill and reskill. Focus on learning things that work with AI, not things that compete against it. Second, start planning now for job transitions. Look into fields where the human touch is still essential. Third, build up your financial security. Having a safety net is going to be more important than ever. But all of that rests on the fourth and most important step. Double down on your uniquely human skills. This right here, this is our secret weapon. AI is incredible at crunching data and doing repetitive tasks. But it's terrible at real, out-of-the-box creativity. It struggles with deep, critical thinking. And it has zero genuine emotional intelligence. These skills, which we used to call soft skills, are about to become the most valuable assets in the entire economy. This is where we thrive. And so all of this leaves us with one last really deep question to chew on. As AI increasingly takes over the what we do and the how we do it, it's going to force all of us to ask a much bigger question. What is our why? What's the uniquely human purpose we bring to the table? And honestly, being ready to answer that question might just be the most important preparation of all.